My name is Amawa Ereji, and I'll be the one to teach you the curved corset pattern making for today. So the curved corset pattern making is more or less like an outfit with a kind of a bra cup with a snatching waist kind of down part, which is from the underbust down to the length, probably the hip length. So what are the required measurements for this pattern making? Firstly, let's talk about the pattern you're using. You're going to be using or manipulating your basic body's pattern. Your basic body's pattern is what you're going to be using to manipulate into what? Into the curved corset pattern. So basically now, we have the basic body's pattern on the board, and then this is what we're going to be using to manipulate into curved corset. So we already have the measurement in which you're going to be using as well, which is the bust circumference of 92, the waist circumference of 70, the underbust length of 38, the underbust circumference of 70 as well, and the hip circumference of 100. So I think we all understand all this measurement because I think we've done the bustier pattern. So if we've done bustier pattern, we understand how to take all these necessary measurements. So if you see on the board right now, I have the true bust line. You understand? This is actually the true bust line, and I also have what? The underbust length. So those measurements are going to be infused into the basic body's pattern that you have already, because we are still going to be using them to draft the curved corset pattern. So first thing I'm going to be doing now of all is to get the interval between the true bust and what? And the underbust length. All this measurement is just measurement in length, and those is part of the vertical measurement. Like, you know that we have some vertical measurement and the horizontal measurement. So the true bust measurement now is the measurement, is the vertical measurement, and also the underbust length is still the vertical measurement we're going to be using. So this is it. The first thing, like I said, is to get the interval between what? The true bust line and what? The underbust. Do you see what I'm having here? So the distance between here and here is what you're going to be getting. So like I have here, I have this is 9 cm. That's actually the distance between the two. So why am I getting the distance between the two? I need the distance between the two to mark all around the area I needed for the curve to be placed. Are you getting what I'm saying? So just more or less like from this point now, getting the point X, then I have to go all around. It's going to be like a circle kind of shape. So let's go on and do that so that we see how we do it. So another thing I will advise you to do is that you should connect the bust, the dart interval directly to the bust line. You see, this is the dart interval from ear to ear, the middle one. You have to connect it directly to what? To the bust line, so that we can get the point X directly. So this part now, this part touching the bust point is going to be the point X. So now, the interval is going to be marked round from where? Using the point X. If you have your compass, you can actually use this to mark it or to just take it all around. Like what I'm doing here, from this point X now, I'll be going all around by 9 cm. This is what we have here, 9 cm all around. If you have your compass, it's going to work better. All you need to do is just to place it on the point X, and then you take it all around directly. And then you can still use your French curve to actually achieve this roundness by connecting this to this. connecting this to this. Are you seeing this? So once you have this, that will give you the area you actually want to place the cup. So that is why it's not that is what makes the cup itself. We just make it all round just to get the area we are putting the cup for the cup corset pattern. So once you have the interval now, the next thing is to get what? The cup itself out of this. Your cup has to be from, not that it mustn't exceed what you have here, but it must be inside what you have here. So the first thing now is to create a dart for what? For the cup. We have two dart placement for the cup part, which is the straight dart and what? And the side dart. Those are the two dart placement we have for the cup part. So the first thing you are going to be doing now, using this middle the dart leg on the middle part here, I'm going to be doing 2 cm from the middle dart leg on the bust here. I'm going to be doing 2 cm on the other side as well. So that means from this dart leg here, the middle one, you have to go out here by what? By 2 cm, and then the other side too by what? By 2 cm. So those are the two things you need to note down. So now you can be able to do what? After doing that, you have to be able to connect it directly using your what? Using your French curve to what? To the point X. Look how what we have here. The same thing on what? On the other side. Are you seeing this? 2 cm here, 2 cm here has to be connected directly to where? To the point X. So you're done with that part. There's something I want you to note now. There's always an interval between what? Each cup. The left and what? And the right cup. There's always what? An interval between the two cups. So how do we get the interval? And the interval is always like at least 2 cm interval between the two cups. It's always like 2 cm. So automatically you can't actually do 2 cm directly on the pattern. All you need to do is what? All you need to do is divide it into 2. That's going to be like what? Like 1 cm. So what I'm going to be doing now is that from the CF part, which is the chest line. This is the chest line, and this is the CF part. I'm going to be marking 1 cm all the way down, probably to the waist, all the way to the length of what I'm making. It depends on what you're actually making. You see what I'm doing here? Okay. So 1 cm is all the way down to this part. So it depends on what you're actually making. It can stop here if your cupped corset is something that goes to the that has a breaking point on the waistline directly. So another thing is that you have to note that according to your measurement, it may even exceed the what? The center front part. It may exceed that part. Why? Because getting the interval doesn't mean like, okay, it's just to get the area. We will have the, like I told you that you can still go outside this circular part. Do you understand? So now, anything that is exceeding this line, automatically you have to what? You have to check it. But with what I'm having here, I don't have anything exceeding this line. So you have to check it. Probably it's exceeding it by probably like 2 or 1 cm. You have to measure that 1 cm and take it back to where? Take it back to this other side. Because normally, if you're even doing the corset of a thing, the one on this side is always a bit bigger than the one on the center part. You get what I'm saying? So it's normal that way because by the time you pack up, it shifts a bit to the side. So like what we have here now, I have to do extra 1 cm. Even if, note that even if there's nothing left on this other side, you can still add some allowance, maybe like 1 cm or 1.5 to where? To this other side. I'm not talking, this is the center part, I'm talking about the side. So this is the side part of the pattern. So now you can still do 1 cm or 1.5 just to make this part a bit bigger than the center part. So like what I'm having here, I'm going to be doing at least 1 cm, and then I'll be connecting it back to where? Back to the 2 cm on this underbust part. So you're still using your what? You're still using your French curve to achieve that. So this is it. So by the time you're done with this, you can actually take it up directly. You can see the way I placed my what? My French curve on this part. You have to know how to make use of this French curve properly so that you get it right. See the way I placed it now? You are taking it up directly to where? To the chest line. Depending on the neckline you're actually using, but firstly, take it directly to where? To the chest line. Like I told you now, that the cup you're making, you actually don't determine it with what? The circular part you make, because now, by the time I'm done with the placement of the cup, I can actually do what? I can actually clean all this circular part I first of all did, just to get the derivation. That's why I had to put it there. So this is it. The next thing is to get the neckline right. Like I said, some corset, cupped corset used to have a kind of sit-out kind of neckline on the center part, and it can be a bit curvy as well. It depends on actually what you're working on, and this is it. If you know, you have to know the way your sit-out looks like. For instance, like what I'm having here. You see what I'm having here. So if you're having something like this, so that means you need to go down on what? On the CF part, which is the center front part, the center part of the pattern. That is where you're going to go down. So all you need to do is to come down by at least 2 cm, depending on what you want to make. Do you understand? You can still go down more than that, depending on what you actually want to make. So I'm going to be doing like 2 cm down from where? From the chest line. You have to note that this is your true bust point, and that is the nipple point. If it's someone that doesn't really want to reveal, you have to note that you are not bringing it down to the what? To the nipple point. And you can still bring it down. It depends on what you're actually making. So this is what I'm doing now. This will be the depth of the neckline on the CF part. Automatically now, this is the part I'm going to be connecting directly to. So before I do that, there's a dart opening on the down part. I need to create another dart opening on the what? On the upper part, so that it's going to be giving us that curvy look. Do you understand? Our cup's supposed not to be something straight or flat. You understand it? That's supposed to be something curvy on this part. So this is what you're going to be doing now. There's an opening on this part using the dart, the shoulder dart here. You have to check whatever that is here, from ear to ear. Check whatever that is here and here. So that's like 2 cm. So automatically you are doing the same thing on what? On the other side. So that is using this dart, the other dart leg here. So this is it, 2 cm on the other side. You see what I have here? 2 cm here and 2 cm here. Do you see? So and then you connect it back to where? You connect it back to the point X. Using your what? Using your French curve. The same thing on the other side. You see the way we have it here. So the next thing now is to be able to do what? To connect this other dart leg to where? To the neckline. Like I said, it depends on what you're making. I've seen some corset with what? With sit-out neckline, and I've seen some with a bit curvy part, like what I'm having here. Sorry. So depends on what you're making. You can see that this looks more sharp than what you have here. So that means if you're doing something like sit-out neckline, you have to bend your what? French curve this way. So all you need to do is just the shape like this. So that will give you the sit-out look. But if you're doing something curvy, you do it the other way around. like this. I get what I'm doing. So just to bend it, just to get that slopy part of the curve. So now I can be able to do what? Erase out the circular part, the first circular part I made. I want to erase it so that it makes sense. All right. So by looking at it now, we actually have something that looks like the curve part. But we are not done yet. We have to still do the neckline for what? For the other side. So how are we doing that? It depends on what you're making. I don't mean if you are making something like a tube corset now, the next thing you need to do, if you're making like a tube corset, the next thing you need to do is to take this UP up by at least what? At least, okay. All right. So the next thing you need to do, if you're doing something like a tube corset, okay. What question are you talking about? Next thing now, I was talking about if you're making a tube kind of corset, you actually need to raise up the UP a bit. If you're making a tube corset, you have to raise up the UP. This is the UP. So automatically you're going up by what? By 2 cm on this part. Why are you going up by 2 cm? A tube outfit may not really have that. It's not going to be having a sleeve. So it needs to cover up a bit on the armpit. So that's why you have to go up by what? By 2 cm on that part. So going up by 2 cm now, we give you the ability or the room to connect the neckline for the other corset part. Looking at this, connecting for this other, from this other dart leg directly to where? Directly to the 2 cm. This is it. So that is if you are making something like a tube outfit. But if you're not making something like a tube outfit, you can actually still connect it directly to where? To the UP. To the initial UP you have. Now looking at, can you see this now? So you can see the difference that the other one is going down a bit than the tube kind of outfit. So that will give it more perfect look. Like we said, the neckline is supposed to look like a straight out neckline. This is it. Coming from here, by the time you join these parts together on your fabric, it's going to be giving you the curvy look on this upper part, which is the apex part of the neckline. And then it's going down back to where? To the neckline on what? On the CF part. So that is it. So we have two things now. If you're making a tube, going up by what? By 2 cm. And if you're making just a normal thing that has a yoke, you can still do what? You can still maintain the actual UP that you have. And you can see that I connected it directly to the what? From the other dart leg down to the UP. Do you understand? So that will make the neckline complete on that part. So the next thing now is to extend this neckline back to where? Back to the back pattern. So this is it. If you are doing 2 cm up on the front pattern, automatically you are expected to do the same 2 cm up on the back pattern. And the way your corset is supposed to look like, it's supposed to be going a bit down on the center back, the center part of the back pattern. Do you understand? So this is the center part of the back pattern. I'm doing 2 cm on the UP. Automatically I'll be doing at least 2 cm on the what? On the center part of what? Of the back pattern. So automatically you can actually connect it directly using your what? Using your French curve. Like what we have here. So that means if you are doing something like a tube corset pattern, and if you are not making it like tube, you can still maintain what, like I said, for the front part. You can still maintain the one you have for what? For on the UP, the original UP, you have to connect it. So that means you are still going down by what? 2 cm to make it a bit slanted. When looking at this, you can see that this looks slanted more than if you're maintaining the what? The UP. And that doesn't say you should not go down more than 2 cm. You understand? You can still go down more than 2 cm just to make it a bit slanted on that part. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to create the style lines. What are the style lines? If you look at the cupped corset properly, there are some connection, there are some lines on the body. Do you understand? It can have something like a line, a kind of stitch on the center part, the other one connected to where? To the bust, to the cupped part, and the other one can actually come on the other side. So it depends on what you want. Do you understand? It depends on how you want it to look like. So this is it. The style lines, to get the style lines, it depends on the SS, on what? On the pattern itself. For this regular pattern, like what we use as a basic bodice pattern, like the SS on this part, give us at least 9 style lines on the whole pattern. 9 style lines. What are the style lines? You have a style line on the what? On the center part. You have another style line here. We can create another style line on this part. And then for the back part, we can still have like 2 more style lines. So that means if I'm having 3, what's it called? If I'm having 3 or okay, 1, 1, 1 here, so this center part remain constant. So that makes it 5 on the front part, and then 4 on what? On the back part. So that means 2 here will give us 4 because we have here and here. For the front pattern, we have 2 here and the center part. The center part remain constant, and the other 2 give us 4 as well on the front part. So that is how it works. So this is it now. If you want to make this, the first thing you need to do is to create another style line on this other side. So you can actually use your what? Your underbust measurements to create the style line. Your what? Your underbust measurement. So this is it. I'm going to be dividing 2 things. The underbust and as well the what? The bust part here. So I'm not dividing the whole thing. So that means you need to check whatever that is here and here. You can actually divide it into what? Into 2. It depends on how you want the style line to look. You can make it slanted, you can actually make it straight, depending on how you actually want it to be. So I'm dividing here and here into what? Into 2. To get my what? To get my style line. So this is 17. I can actually get 17 divided just to get the midpoint of the 2 parts here. So this is the midpoint. So then I'm coming up here again to get the what? The midpoint. That means from here to here. I have 8, so that's 4. So using your French, the long ruler, you can actually do directly. Here we have 4 and the other part here. So what are you going to be doing? What you're going to be doing is to use your what? Your long ruler to connect the 2 parts together, and then you connect it down to where? To the length of the dress. This is what we have here. Are we here now? So this is it. Division of here and here give us this. Division of here and here give us this. So then placing my ruler directly like this give me all the way to this down part. So mere looking at this now, you will notice that I have another style line on the side. Another style line on the side. So if you look at this other one, this one is actually looking like, it's looking straight. So then you still need to make it a bit slanted like you have it on this part as well. So how do you make it slanted? So I'm going to be distancing the 2 by at least 5 cm. This is from here now. I can distance this part by what? By 5 cm. And then connect the dart, the center part. This is the center part. Connect it directly from where? From the underbust. Just to make it a bit slanted as well. This is what we have here. This is slanted and this is slanted. So the next thing now you need to do is to transfer whatever you have on the dart opening using this center part again now. So for the front part, normally you used to have your 3. So that is like 1.5 and 1.5 on the other side. 1.5 here, 1.5 on here. So then I will reconnect it back like so. and then you take it back to where? To the base, to the length of the outfit, the pattern. So that's why I'm using another, what's it called? Marker entirely, so that we can get it right. So that we can be able to differentiate between the two. So this is the first one initially. So this is the second part. Now you can see that it's looking well slanted as well as what we have on this part. You get. So the next thing is that we are going to go to the back part as well to create the style line. So before you create any style line, you should actually indicate the part you are using for what? You're using for the eyelet opening. So normally you can actually use your eyelet opening on the back part of the corset because that will serve as the medium to snatch better. So this is it. It can be in two ways. Is either it's a bit slanted as well. I mean the opening is either it's a bit slanted or it's somehow straight. So if you can check properly how the eyelet opening looks like, do you understand? Is either you make it slanted or it comes straight. So if you're making it slanted, so there's a measurement you need for that to make it slanted. So that means the opening on the upper part has to be bigger than the one you have on the lower part. So if I'm doing like, probably I need like 12 cm opening at the back just to make it well laced up. Do you understand? So that means I'm going to be doing 12 divided by what? 12 divided by 2. So automatically from the CF part, I'm going to be doing like 6. So that means if I'm doing the slanted one, if you are not doing the slanted one, you can still make it the same thing all the way down. If I'm doing the slanted one, I'm not going to be doing 6 on the down part. So I will be doing like at least 3. So that means if it's open on the upper part by 12, it can be reduced on the down part by probably like 9 or something, or 6, depending on what you want. So this is it. Now if I'm doing 9 now, I'm doing like 4.5 on this part. And then I connect it directly down. It depends on where you want it stopped. I've seen some like that it goes in more on the waist, and then you still maintain what? You still maintain the 6 cm on the down part as well. It depends on how you want the opening to look like. So this is it. You can go and check, you can make research on this so that you know how they look like, so that it doesn't really get you confused. So now, what I'm doing, why am I doing this? I need to indicate this part before the style line. It is very, very important. I need to indicate it so that, you know, for this part, I was using the dart placement we had before. So now, I will be able to do what? Erase this dart placement, and then probably take it to where? Another part. So if I'm taking it to another part, note that I still need like I still need like 2 different style line on this part. So instead of me putting the dart placement on another part, all I need to do is to divide from here using the waistline. Anything I have from here to here into 3 to get what? To get the style line. So it's very simple as that. So this is it. I have like 20. So that means if I'm dividing my 20 into 3, automatically, that's like, sorry. So that's like 7.5, if I'm not mistaken, or 7, yeah, 7. So this is it, 7, 7, and 7. So that means I have my division of 3. So now this will serve as the first style line, and this will serve as the second style line on the back pattern. So all I need to do is to connect this all the way to the upper part. So this is it, from here all the way down. On the other side here, from here all the way down. When looking at this, you will notice that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing on this part. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you understand? So that means here automatically you have like 4 on the back part, and at the same time you have like what? Like 5 on the front part. So now what's the essence of all these dart lines, the style line? The essence of the style line is just to do what? To snatch more. It can serve as a medium of your shape body process as well. Like we used to do on the normal basic bodies, snatching everything. You can still use the style lines to snatch whatever excess you have on the pattern. So how do we do that? This is it. We have the actual measurement here. Now, I will need to get what is on the pattern right so that we'll be able to get the differences directly. So, on the pattern for the bust part, 25. So I have like 51. On the waistline, I have 24. 40. You have to skip this dot. It's very, very important. Skip this center dot. I have like 47. On the waistline, you have to skip the dot. It's very, very important. I have like 47.5. Okay. On the hip part, I have like 54. So, all we are going to be doing now is to divide all these measurements into what? Into 2, and then we subtract them from all the ones we have here. It is very, very important to do that so that you can be able to get what? The differences. So I have like 92 divided by 2. So that gives us 46. The waist, that's 70 divided by 2, that's 35. Yeah, 35 for the under bust as well. And then the hip, 100, so that's 50. So now let's do the subtraction now. 51 minus 46. So that's 5 SX on this part. We have SS of 5. On the bust area, that's 5. On the under bust part, we have 47 minus 35. So we have 12. Wow. From the waist part, we have 47.5 minus 35. So we have 12 point what? 12.5. So for this part, which is the hip part, we have 54 minus 50. So that's we have 4 cm left. So you can see that the differences that we have here on the bust part is 5 cm. The difference we have on the under bust part is 12 cm. The difference we have on the waist part is what? 12.5 cm. And the one we have on the hip part is what? Is 4 cm. So how do we do that now? That means using these tie lines, we need to share all this, what? All this excess between these tie lines. So how do we do that? It is very, very important. We know what is necessary to do. So first thing, let's start from the waistline, because it's important that the waist look a bit more shapy than the other parts of the body. If you look at your corset properly, that is the main how it's supposed to look like. So this is the waistline now, and we have 12.5 cm. So all I'm going to be doing is, firstly, I can actually share probably like 2.5 on both sides for the waist. 2.5 cm, 2.5 cm. So then, if I'm doing 2.5, that is 5, subtracted from where? From 12 cm. So that means 12.5 cm.